Hello, I'm your host, Isabela Santos from Ecom Daily News, and we have the honor and privilege to have Michael Capponi, founder and president of GEM, Globalization Empowerment Mission. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you? Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. So today, can you explain a little bit what we experienced here today?
So today we were introducing our master plan of hurricane preparedness and disaster relief preparedness for the whole planet, specifically the Caribbean, our hemisphere, Latin America, South America, and the United States. So we introduced various partners who contribute. For example, a trucking partner, which is called UC Group, which provides free shipping. So we have 500 semi-trucks that can deliver aid and supplies anywhere in the United States at any given time. And then we introduced our partners that are part of the Caribbean Consul Corps, and that consists of all the general consuls and consulates and ambassadors of different Caribbean countries. And this gives us a unique opportunity to have great relationships with each country. So if there's something that's going to happen, let's just theoretically say that there was a major hurricane brewing now and it was going to hit Jamaica, and we knew that, we would be already working with the Jamaican government, the Jamaican Prime Minister, the ambassadors on providing a plan to help the people that are potentially going to be exposed to a potential catastrophe or hurricane.
You mentioned in your talk how you like to have the help inside the country. Let's say in Jamaica, you have Jamaicans help, not just strangers from outside. And how did you come up with that idea and that plan? Because I think it's amazing.
Thank you. I don't think I come up with anything. I think it's all God's plan. But it's about empowering people, right? You have to understand what is the reason and purpose why all these catastrophes are happening, and can they actually transmute themselves into creating an opportunity for the greater good of things, right? Or do you just write it off as, I can't believe that happened? And many people in my 20 years of doing this, I'll give you a perfect example. Haiti. So the disaster in Haiti, the earthquake in Haiti, was a very traumatic experience for children there especially. But today, some of the children, because of the Haiti earthquake, got an opportunity at education, and it transformed them. Their lives completely changed because of that earthquake. So sometimes you have to look at what's coming as an opportunity to change, right? And people coming together, uniting. I've seen entire cities in California, literally an entire city of like 50, 60,000 people get wiped out. So there's not one structure left. Nothing exists. But the whole community is bound, kind of like the Jewish people were bound after the temple was destroyed and they're exiled, bound by something greater. And what bounds you is the ability to love your neighbor, come together, right? And make those changes. So you can only create that organically in each community. Otherwise, the people in Jamaica can't be bound by their relationships with Americans coming over to help them. They can't be bound in Africa by Americans coming, right? They have to be bound by within their own communities. So we just try to give them tools and opportunities and knowledge and systems and logistical support so they can do what they need to do to help their own communities.
And what keeps you from not falling apart and from being there? Because after so many disasters, like behind disaster and disaster, what motivates you to keep on going and just not being like, I can't handle it anymore? Because it must be so much pain.
It is, and we have to understand God's master plan and why our Creator allows certain things to occur. And like I said, is there good that can come from it? So our role is always to try to identify, point out the good, the hope, show people that there is going to be hope, right? What we do with the aid and the supplies is 1/1,000,000th of it, actually. That's nothing. You give someone a box of food and goods, it lasts a week, it lasts 2 weeks. You give it to them the next week. It's very drop in the bucket compared to what they're going through in their process. And if you can help them shift from a very negative process of self-victimization, I can't believe this happened to me, I'm a victim, they go on this dark, dark road, and it could change the whole course of their life. But all of a sudden, having the trust and the ability to understand, wow, there's got to be a reason for all this. Look at my community now. I've never seen it come together like this before. Wow. And then they grow and they get stronger.
Like, look at it from a different point of view. And for the people that are at home that want to help and make a difference and just be that grain of sand, how can they help? How can they volunteer? Is there somewhere to donate, especially the companies that are through e-commerce?
So the three greatest needs always are finances, right? Because you have a lot of logistics to pay for and a lot of structure, and there is gas and there's ships and there's containers and there's planes, there's warehouses, there's forklift drivers, there's all kinds of things that need to be paid to be able to do this. Then the second most important thing is large amounts of product and supplies, right? So for example, Abel, right, with Fulfillment Hub is one of our great sponsors. So any of the leftover products that they can't use and everything, he donates it to us, and then we distribute it. So that's one example. But any large corporation, especially food producers, hygiene, nutrition, vitamins, all those type of things, it's good to make those donations to us so we can always have full warehouses and filled with stock to give to other people. And then the third way is by volunteering and coming and spending your time. Whether you're at home and you're sharing on social media and creating awareness and doing fundraisers or doing things like that, or actually coming into the warehouse and just donating your time and helping to assemble and pack boxes for others is great.
Do you have any statistics on how companies like Fulfillment Hub have helped and how many people they've reached? And
I think in the last 3 years alone, we've amassed about $88 million worth of supplies from mostly donors and private companies and stuff. So without that, there couldn't be any significant help and assistance.
And do you mind asking, when did your journey to helping your brother and sister, your neighbors, arise?
I think it's something that's embedded in you,
okay.
From the time of your birth. My grandfather, I even have some of his medals, was, basically using his own funds to get Holocaust survivors out of Germany. And at a very young age, I think I was already feeding homeless and doing things like that. Then I spent years being in the entertainment industry, got really caught up in the ego and the girls and all the stuff that comes with that. And luckily, I got really addicted to drugs. And I say luckily because that's really the key. The key is understanding why things happen to us, and to try to transmute and reverse, rather than looking at something as a curse or why did this happen to me, looking at it as a positive thing. Without the drugs, there wouldn't have been a loss. And when I lost everything and I ended up even homeless for a while, believe it or not, in a blizzard in New York City in 1996, completely out in the freezing cold with other homeless people, once you survive that, not only has the experience made it so I've never relapsed again and never even considered touching a drug again, it also makes you extremely strong, and it also teaches you the ability of turn on your true empathy towards others. Just like I said, you will never know what it's like to be homeless until you are homeless, right? So sometimes I look at how God forms each being, right, through their experiences. So when I was in the street in New York, and I would look up and I would hate God, and I'd be like, why the hell am I in this situation right now? I hate your guts, you don't even exist. And I was abandoned, but I was never abandoned, because today, if you ask me what's the absolute worst situation and thing that's happened to you in your life, I'd say exactly that. But if you ask me what made GEM and what founded GEM and what's the best thing that ever happened to you in your life, I'd say exactly that, because one makes the other, right? So that's kind of like what we've been talking about in this interview. It's the ability to understand the hardships. If any hardship happens to a human being, you really have three choices. One, you numb yourself, so you drink or you smoke or you sex or whatever it is to like forget about it. The other one is you could see a therapist for the rest of your life, and you could just live in your problem and try to understand your problem, and you could take, you know, antidepressants and all of that. Or you could say, wow, I can't believe what an amazing thing that was that happened to me like that. And what a lesson, and thank it and embrace it. And then, you know what? You never need to go see the therapist. You never need the Prozac, and you never need all of that, because you get it, right? So you've learned to transmute the negative into the positive. And I think that's the key of all things.
It's like almost things happen to us to make us who we truly are.
It's part of the divine plan, right? That's exactly that. So without the hardships, it wouldn't happen.
So for like the people that are struggling, the best thing is, I would say, from what you've come and from my past experience as well, it's you have to learn to adapt and stop looking at, feel sorry for yourself and help your neighbor. It's truly amazing what you've done and how far along you've come and how many people you've helped. If you can give out the website, so if the volunteers and people that want to come and help and join your journey. And
thank you. It's global empowerment mission.org.
Awesome.
And thank you. And yeah, it's all about just anything that happens to us, we have to immediately accept it. And once we accept that it's happened, there's no point anymore, right? And that's what I tell people. Okay, look, your house just burnt down. There's nothing you can do about it at this point. It's gone. Now you have to see, now you have to look at it and be like, okay, what can I do now to basically survive out of this situation? And how can I like understand that this might actually be a blessing one day? It might take me a year or a decade to figure that out, but it might be a blessing. Who knows?
Sometimes I tell myself that these situations happen because you're not where you're supposed to be. It's almost like a rude awakening, you would say, from, you know, God telling you like, okay, you need to reevaluate all your stuff, your surroundings. Is this truly what your purpose is? I feel like most of us come to life with a purpose, and we have these situations that happen.
Well, I'm glad that you understand that. So you're obviously a wise being. In Hinduism, there's a you know, an energy, or people call it a god, but it's really just an energy. It's a force. It's an angelic force. Ganesh. And Ganesh, right, the elephant god, right? It's really the thrower of obstacles. And what that thrower of obstacle does is exactly that. When we are on the wrong road, right, or we're on the same old road that's not going anywhere, you're driving on I-95 all the way to New York City, and you're just never going to get off that I-95. There will be a diversion that will force you to basically get off on that exit, because that's your new lesson. And you have to look at things exactly like that. And those diversions are basically something that happens from above to like redirect us. Always, everything is redirect. Yeah. You're in a relationship, it doesn't work anymore. right? You're sad. Oh my God, I can't believe it's a blessing. If it wasn't meant to be, there's another one that's coming, right? And you always look. You're just being molded and put through this.
They're like distractions, I feel like sometimes. Sometimes we just stay in a distraction longer than we need to.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. I had an amazing time, and you've done amazing things.